Hello? Hello?
So, yes, we professionally and technically call mental health as an umbrella term, where so many ideas come in front and so many techniques and so many elements, components come inside that. We cannot say that a single element, being stress free doesn't mean that the person is um, mentally healthy. Okay, so initially I have to give you a brief idea and very simple idea about mental health, what actually mental health is about. So first of all, I would say, if you are oriented towards your future, if you're working towards your future, and if you were you have the aim with this and this kind of things I should complete within my this time period, so that I can be I can be successful. If you have such kind of an attitude within yourself, I would definitely say that you are a healthy person, mentally healthy person. Okay, another thing is that if you're having a touch with your identity, and if you have a touch with your feelings, then obviously I could say that you're a mentally healthy person. Okay, that means only you know what is your basic needs and what is your basic uh, what is my thought, what is my feeling, what is my aim of my life. Only we know that, right? Some people are not aware of what to do in a situation, or we don't know what is actually going in our head. So in such situation we'll be not able to will not be able to handle our life. So if a person has a connection between what he's thinking and what he's doing, obviously that person is a mentally healthy person, I would definitely say. And then if we not everybody do not know about our needs. It is we who have to understand about our needs, our what is the actual thing which we have to do this day. It's actually we actually don't know that. Okay, we should know that. And of course I would say another thing is that our psyche or the mind and our thoughts should be integrated. That means it should be coordinated and well organized. And if you have good communication skills, it sometimes you'll not be able to give the idea from your heart, or you'll not be able to say what is in your mind. So there is a communication gap or something that is happening, right? So I would say, in such situation, if you're able to communicate very well to a person or to others, then I can say that you are definitely a mentally healthy person. Okay, and we as being students, or we probably say that we are an empathetic listener. That means we always try to be a patient listener. We are an active listener. We say it as our strength. But have you ever thought that being empathetic is not that easy, right? So you have to think of that. Not everybody can be empathetic, and while hearing to an issue or a problem, not everybody can think that I'm hearing from my heart and I'm going to give correct interventions or solution for that problem. We can't do every time, right? If you're able to always communicate with empathy and listen with empathy, then obviously it is a mentally healthy person who can do so. Okay, then you should be the master of your environment, right? It is nobody else who is going to control you, right? You have to control your thoughts, emotions, everything, so that you can function very well in the environment, right? So you have to be the master of your environment. While this is obviously the best time to explain about the mental health and everything, because we do not have a clear cut idea about mental health. We usually say that our depression, stress, tension, we say schizophrenic, we say so many tough terms, but still we do not know what is actually the meaning of mental health, or something like that. So probably let me spot an example that last day, we obviously, you might have heard about the suicide of Sushant Singh Rajput, right? He had all the fame, reputation, money, property, relationship, everything, right? He had all the good feelings though, but still he had some kind of uneasiness within him. That's why he committed suicide, right? Have you ever sincerely thought that what is the actual thing which drawn him to suicide? He had everything, right? Everything, money, reputation, everything, but still he was drawn into suicide. And finally, we came to a conclusion that he had clinical depression. So we have to understand that is it depression like something uneasiness happening in within ourselves? It's something like that. Okay, it is very complex. It is clinical depression. He said that yes, he had depression, so he committed suicide. Will be most probably posting so many hashtags and everything in social media platforms to like help those who are depressed, help listen to others, everything. But we actually do not know what is actually depression and what is the exact difference between depression and being depressed. We all can get depressed frequently. We think that we are lonely, we think that we have stress, tension, everything. That doesn't mean that we are on depression. If a person is getting into depression, I would say that that person will be um, will be having a thing that my entire life is going to over because I will not be able to come out of this situation. Only in such kind of situation we can say that that person is in depression. Now it is not that yeah, I'm feeling sad, I'm worried, I'm tensed because I have this paper tomorrow, so I'm depressed. No, it's entirely different. Hope you understood. And another example is that, let me say statistics that base. There is a fact that about 800,000 people in and around the world is committing suicide in a year. It is just a statistics of 1 year. About 800,000 people. It is such a huge number, right? So what is the actual, we have all the technologies, we have all the, inventions, scientific support for us, but still about 800,000 people are committing suicide. So another thing is that a fact that in about every 40 seconds, approximately one person is committing suicide in every 40 seconds. Not even 1 minute. It is about in a 40-second, one person is committing suicide. Can you, it is not about you they have no money or they have so many stress. It is because they do not know how to control their mind initially. That is the first thing. Okay, so well, if we commit suicide or if we are depressed, if we'll share it to another person, obviously after 3 days they'll be getting into their normal life, right? Nobody is going to worry about so much about our life. It is we who have to think whether to leave or whether to get into the box, right? So Deepika Padukone, well, you might be well aware of such a great and wonderful actress. And Deepika Padukone had depression. Yeah, she successfully came out of depression. Why? Because she said that in the year 2015, she said she had all the fame, all the reputation, she had all the blockbuster films in that year, but still, one day she suddenly woke up, she was feeling numb, she didn't know what to do. And she said that she was not able to think, and she was completely in a dilemma that what should we do, what is actually happening within me. And she said to her parents, and she was initially aggressive and very very worried, but later, without thinking twice, she went to the psychiatrist and got the correct medication and treatment. That is what she, the best decision that Deepika Padukone that ever she have took in her life. you know if you have any physical disturbances, like if your hand is broke, if if you have headache or stomach pain, whatever it is, you will be obviously going to a physician and you will be consulting, right? And you take the proper treatment and medication, everything, and you'll be probably saying to everybody that please pray for me because I have this problem, that problem, everything, right? But my fellow beings, please think that if you have any kind of problem within your thinking, or if you have any kind of problem with your emotions, thoughts, everything, will you consult a psychiatrist, or will you go to a counselor, or will you be able to share it with at least your parents or your close relatives or to your close friends, whoever it is? No, majority of you will not consult a psychiatrist or not share it with other people. Why? Because there is a societal stigma around us. Like, if you have any, if you consult a psychiatrist, you are going to be mentally ill. Unfortunately, this stigma is very much in our society right now. if I probably ask you, you know, how can you define a person with mental illness in a single word? Obviously, at least some of you might say that a person with mental illness, a person who is, mentally retarded, a person who is insane, so many terms would come up, right? And it is not professionally acceptable to call or to terminalize into those terms, because it is not at all acceptable. A person who is insane, we can't say that. If you have a person within your family or your near and dear one, you would not say such kind of terms. You have to understand that. And why these kind of awareness classes is given to you people, because it is you who have to give awareness to rest of the entire society, right? It is you who have to give awareness to your parents or that generation, and also it is you who have to give awareness to the future generation also. If we are still in a stigma like mental health, yes, something is wrong. If you are in such kind of stigma, you won't be able to give actual understanding about mental health. Okay, so yes, while saying about stress, yeah, being student is obviously stressful, right? Yes, I can understand that. And yes, you would say there are so many workloads, so many things in my life. I have to complete this, that, everything. So it is very stressful. So yeah, yes, we were while discussing with the faculties, they told me, yeah, could you please give some kind of tips from your personal life so that there is kind of motivation. I was wondering what is actually stress management. I would say we always try to manage things that are very precious to us, right? It is a fact that we always try to uh, manage everything that is precious: our money, our property, our relationship, our family, our engagements, everything. We are always keeping and managing it, because that is very precious to us. Then comes the term stress management. So these days we consider stress as a very precious thing, and we consider that stress is an extra limb in my body, so that I have to give it priority and I have to give so much of importance for stress. We are actually, by you know uh, while managing stress, we are actually giving so much of importance to stress, actually, not the management. Okay, so yes, hmm, one interesting fact is that, you know if I ask you what is the most sophisticated system in this planet, some of you might say about like it's a machine or whatever it is, but I would say that it is the human body that is the most powerful and most sophisticated system in this entire planet, I would say. Why? Because it is continuously working for us. It is continuously working and functioning to make us alive. It is not stopping any functions, right? Not even for a second. It is continuously working. So it is the most sophisticated system in this entire planet. So it is natural to get stressed, and not it is not that you have to give so much of importance to stress, and it is not that fashionable to being stressed out. People might say that person is so much stressed because he is matured. I've heard so many comments like that. It is nothing like that. Maturity is not that if you're stressed or if you're tense, that doesn't mean that you are matured. Okay, so let me say that if you're being a student, you will say that we have so many works, assignments, test papers, so we are stressed. Okay, if you're not getting a job, you will be probably saying that I'm stressed because I do not have the you know I do not have the job. I'm still waiting for the job. So much stress, right? And if you get a job, you will be probably saying that my workplace is so much of stress, my boss, my colleagues, everything is very much stressful for me, and leave it. And if you have if you get married, if you are not getting married, you will be obviously stressed, and if you are getting married, you will be again and again stressed. And if you're not getting a child, you'll be again stressed, and if you are getting a child, you will be pulling out of your hair because of stress. See, in every milestones of our developmental stages, we are always stressed. It is a part of our life. That doesn't mean that you have to give so much of importance to stress. Okay, it is natural phenomena to get worried or get tensed. Okay, Okay, so I would say initially for I would say that it is just stress is nothing very complex. It is basically your inability to adjust to a situation. That means if you're if you're not able to perform in front of your entire class, you are stressed because you do not know what to do, how to adjust to a situation. That is why we get stressed. Initially just simple, it is not that complex stress, so it has so many things like depression, that there's nothing like that. It is just your inability to adjust to a situation. So it is you who have to put your effort for that, right? So yes, and I would probably initially say that if you give far more importance to yourself, it is not that you're selfish. It is that if you give or if you understand yourselves, obviously you are not going to get stressed. Give attention to yourself, fix yourself. Why? Because we always peep into others' life, what others are doing. We are always trying to imitate others. So, in such situation, why are we just worried about others' life, and why are we just imitating? We are very wonderful, right? We are very perfect. We have to think like that. You are wonderful. So why should you imitate others? So be yourself, okay? And do not identify yourself with anything. You know, being business students, you will be obviously confronting so many conversations or situations in the future with so many business tycoons or maybe business elites or entrepreneurs, everybody, right? In such situation, you have to understand one simple thing, that everybody have their own perspective of ideas, right? I have my own idea and my own perspective of idea, and the opposite side, that person also will be having definitely their own perspective of idea, right? So for example, I would say if you have a conversation between an owl, then you are saying that there is light, so it is a daytime. The owl would probably say that there is darkness, so it is obviously nighttime. So the conversation goes on endless, right? We Here nobody is wrong. Either the owl is not wrong, nor we are wrong, right? Both of them are correct. So you have to understand that all the people which we talk or whatever, they have their own ideas and perceptions of things. You have to accept that if you are speaking to a business person, they would be probably having so many ideas within them. You should not say that it is what I am saying is correct and what he's saying is just foolish. Nothing like that. Okay, you have to accept what it is, accept others. It's very important to be positive, to be it is becoming very positive kind of thing. Next, I would say, what is the goal of your life? If I'd ask you, then probably so many answers would come up, right? Like if a person, I have to become an entrepreneur, I have to become a professor, I have to become a business personnel, I have to become, I have to start up a new business or something like that. So initially, I would give a tip that you should be your primary goal of your life should be having inner peace. The peace is nothing that very complex term. It is like if you are peaceful within yourself, if you have an inner peace, that means everything is going to come to you. Whether you have to become a professor, whether you have to become a entrepreneur, everything will come to you because your mind is completely in an ease. Your complete system, your body, your mind, your thinking, behavior, everything is at ease. That is just peacefulness, inner peacefulness. That is why there are yoga sessions and all everything, right? We do yoga. Why do we do yoga and meditation? Why do we do that? It is because we have to keep our system peacefully at least for 1 hour. That will obviously help you to work in your future. Okay, so next tip I would give you is, do not give add-on incentives to your sickness. Probably if you have any assignments, you will be saying that I have so many physical problems, moms, or what to do. I have so many, I have headache, I have network issues, probably these days. Yes, you'd be saying so many reasons for not submitting the assignment before the deadline, right? So just think one thing, that you have to get the graduation in MBA, right? So you have to anyway do that. If you have to complete an assignment, or if you have to complete some kind of works, you have to anyway, you have to complete it, right? It is not that you have to, I have so many problems, or that I'm not going to do this. You have to anyway do that, so to get MBA graduation. So why do we always add on incentives to a sickness? Huh? A person, probably you all will be knowing about him. He had a kind of abnormality in his spine, but it is medically termed as scoliosis. And then he understood his abnormality. He understood what is the wrong with, what is his physical weakness. And then he started, he consulted a physician, and he started working. He continuously practiced. And that is, that person is the most speedy person in the entire planet ever known since now. That is none other than Usain Bolt. So see, he had kind of abnormality, physical abnormality, but still he worked on, he practiced, he continuously had a, mind to strive, and he continuously strived to succeed, and that made him success. So if you have a headache, or if you are sure that you are not able to, submit any kind of, assignments or works before the deadline, please be open to your faculties or your concerned teachers, because I'm sure that they are going to understand you. If you are sincere and genuine, I'm 100% sure that they are going to help you, and they'll make a solution for that. It is not that if you have some kind of, you're not able to do, but I'm going to tell this reason to my faculty so that they could give me a solution. Nothing like that. Okay, be sincere and genuine while saying the reasons. Okay, they can obviously help you. They are always supportive. And I've told about stress. And yes, um, why do we get stressed being as a student? Yes, so many test papers, you have to upload so many assignments in the Moodle, so many deadlines, so many, time schedules, so many classes. Everything is very stressful, right? So you'd be probably saying that we have to get a job, we have to get a good reputation, so that we have to be stressed. One quite funny example is that, we always try to migrate to abroad countries like US, UK, New Zealand, everything, right? But and you always try to get a permanent residence there and take your entire family to there and get settled, because you consider the heaven is in abroad, in such developed countries. And have you ever thought that why people from US and UK is migrating to other places? Don't they like to be in heaven or what? Have you ever thought of that? Simply logic. Okay. So it is, hell and heaven is nothing of a geographical place. Okay. It is all about your thinking. It is all about your mind. It is nothing beyond that. Okay. So if you are considering, if you are going to live life in India, or whether in the US or anything, it is your attitude which makes whether you are in hell or whether you are in heaven. So, you know, probably I would say, my teachers used to say that whenever you invest something into your life, whether it is a relationship, whether it is, any, education, whether it comes to job, whether it comes to whatever in your life, before investing it to your life, think that after 20 years, will I be, proud, or will I be ashamed of being, uh, for taking this decision, or what? You have to think that after 50 years, will I be, ashamed of taking this decision, or will I be proud of taking this decision? You have to think that before, investing anything to your life, anything to, mean, a person or anything, whatever. Just think it, when you are in the age of 50, and when you turn to your life back, was that decision, fruitful for me, or, was it proudful for me, or just was it a waste of time? Okay, you have to think like that. And probably, unfortunately, I would say that, our parents, or in people of those generation, had, they had metaphorically used the term like, hear your heart and work with your head. But unfortunately, this generation, including you and me, everybody have confused the term. We always think that, yes, we say, probably we frequently say, he broke my heart, she broke my heart. I wonder how others can break your heart, because heart is continuously making you alive. And um, how can, if a person break your heart and leave at least for a second, you can leave at least for a second, right, without your heartbeat. So it is nothing like that. These all are metaphorical statements which are parents and those people use. But unfortunately, we are taking it so much literally into our head. Okay, it is nothing like that. It is your thought and your mind. You have to set it. Okay, do not get into so much of confusion. Do not make your life so much complex and all. But keep it everything simple. Okay, keep everything simple. Your life, your everything, so that you can be at ease. Your system will be at ease. Okay, so in my field experience, we had to conduct so many counselings, and then people would come and say that we have so many negative, you know, thoughts come continuously in my mind. So I'm depressed and sad. What to do? So many negative thoughts. So initially, let me ask you, what I think that what is a negative thought? A negative thought which that doesn't exist, right? If you always worry about things that is over, maybe say for a past 10 years or maybe last day, that issue is already over, but we still take on the baggage with you and then continue with that, right? That is nothing logical. You do not get worried of things that doesn't exist. You may worry about things. If you have a presentation today, you can worry today because it is going to happen, right? It is not that you think that last time when I had this kind of presentation, I had these kind of faults and I was a complete failure, so I'm going to think that you'll be again into failure. And if you're thinking that, okay, if I am performing like this, my friends, my teachers are going to mock at me. Okay, I'm thinking like that. I'm thinking about the future. Still, I will be stressed, right? We are always thinking about our past, and we always think about our future. We do not work in our present. If you have a presentation or some test paper or something, go work in the present. Work and take an initiative to continue the work, so that you can be easily do everything whatever you want. Okay, so you have to give a clear cut distinction for the three dimensions of life. What are the three dimensions of life? Simply the present, the past, the present, and the future. Life is like a picture collage. You'll be probably knowing about that, right? So those pictures do not have any need not have any connection between each other, right? In a picture collage. Similarly, our life and life events necessarily do not have any connection between each other. It is we who are taking all the baggage from the past, and we are carrying it in the present, and we are planning it to take in the future also. So much disgusting, right? That is the actual negative thought, which do not worry about things that doesn't exist at all. You are okay. It is the human nature to get back into a normal life after trauma within 3 days, for 3 days, maximum of 3 days. Okay, after that you will be probably in a normal situation. Rest of the sorrows which you take is only because of you. It is only because of your attitude. Okay, so before I told that it is not fashionable to be stressful. Okay, it is not. If you're peaceful, you can enjoy your life to maximum. It is not that you are taking MPA, or if you're taking MSW, if you're taking MCOM, nothing is going to worry you. You will be always doing everything very actively, and will be succeeding in your life. If you purchase a cell phone, for example, I would ask, you will be probably going through the user manual or the catalog, right? So that you could effectively and efficiently utilize that cell phone. You can study all the settings, you can do everything, you can hear everything, so that you can perfectly utilize your cell phone. But have you ever, till now, till today, have you ever read the user manual of your system, your entire body, your mind? Have you ever gone through that? Are you going to after the at the age of 50 I'm going to read my user manual. What is the use of that? You have continuously used it and you have finished everything. There is no use to understand about yourself at the age of 50. You have to initially from this you have enough and more time. So initially you have to think whether how do I know what is my actual aim, or what is the actual need of my life, what is my actual thought, what is my actual emotion. You have to think like that, and you have to read your own user manual, I would suggest. So that your life will be organized and you'll be having a direction of your life. So that, yeah, after MBA I'm going to do this, and after that I'm going to do this, and yes, so many plans, and it will be ordered, and there will be a direction for your life. And of course, stress management, yes. Personally, from my experience, from my life, I've used some kind of tips from my teachers, my mentors, everybody, and I would probably suggest it to you because I have felt that it is very successful with me. Okay, so I probably suggest it with you. First of all, I've told you, always give a positive attitude. Okay, let me say that. Um, you know, what is the who is the king of the animal kingdom? Lion, obviously, right? So, uh, lion is not the actually the most intelligent animal in the animal kingdom, not the tallest animal, not the strongest animal, not the heaviest animal, nothing, right? But still, lion is the king of the animal kingdom only because of his one word term, because of his attitude. His positive attitude towards himself makes he's the king of the entire animal kingdom. There are giraffe, there are elephant, there are so many other animals who are intelligent, powerful than lion. But still, it is the attitude which is making the lion the king of the animal kingdom. Okay, so always try to keep a positive attitude. Okay, and if a elephant is coming in front of the lion, obviously the lion will be thinking that yes, my lunch is in front of me, or my breakfast is in front of me. Yes, but instead of that, the elephant, who is very strong and very powerful, who can easily defeat the lion, is thinking that, oh my god, the eater is in front of me. See the attitude change within themselves. So the attitude is entirely opposite, right? So if you are thinking that you are worst, you are nothing, you can't do anything, you're not going to reach anywhere. Think that you have your own positive attitude. You are a person who is going to be wonderful. So think on that and let it be your attitude. Okay, give a positive attitude to everybody in your academics or in your job place, everything. Okay, so then if you feel stressed, okay, you will be probably having so many assignments these days, right? The online classes, everything, and it is your initial session, and that you'll be having so many workloads, everything. In that situation, you'll be having so many worries about your classes, everything. If you have such kind of worries, initially I would say speak to others. That is what we have already posted in as a hashtag in those days before, right? So initially, if you have any kind of stress or tension, share it with your friends. If you think that it is not that you have to take the mic and announce it to everybody that I have this kind of problem, it's nothing like that. Okay, it is that if you think that a person is there to give a suggestion for my problem, not a solution, just a suggestion, then obviously you can share it with them. Luckily you have mentoring groups, you have mentor, you have commentees, you have classmates, everybody, and you have such a wonderful opportunity and a platform to share what is in your if you have any problem with your academics, you can definitely share it with your mentor or commentees, and you can discuss it with each other. If you have a problem in taking a presentation, then you can probably take rehearsal in your mentoring group. That is what we technically we call it as cognitive rehearsal. That is, it is a kind of therapeutic technique which we use in thinking techniques. You have to always give a rehearsal to yourself. Okay, if you're thinking that I have this kind of problem, I'm afraid to take a presentation in front of everybody, that is my actual problem, then if you see that that is the actual problem, then you take on rehearsal on that. You do so many mock sessions for that, so that you can effectively and successfully do the presentation. Okay, it is a human instinct that if you try continuously manage anything, whether it is your physical health or mental health, whatever it is, if you try to manage it, it will be at an ease. Nothing is going to be stressful for you. Okay. And then obviously I would say, learn to be relaxed. You are studying MPA, so you are taking such a big graduation. That doesn't mean that you have to always be sitting in front of the books, always go to a library, always always doing that is not necessary, right? You have to do that, definitely you have to do that, but you have to take purposive relaxation. I repeat, purposive relaxation. That means our body is continuously working, right? So we have to give some kind of rest for our body and mind. It can be anything which you are interested. We initially do yoga sessions, we initially do meditation, only because we want ourselves to be calm for at least 1 hour. At least you can do it for 15 hours, right? It is quite very important to give your system, or to make your system at ease. Okay, so doing yoga is really one of the very successful tip which I can give you for relaxation, for purposive relaxation. Or else if you have any other interesting hobbies like playing cricket, playing football, dancing, listening to music, going to library and reading books, yes, there are students. If you have such kind of interest, obviously you can do that for at least 1 hour, right? That is we have got so many defense mechanisms within ourselves, so that we can at least for 1 hour we can get out of these kind of stress, so that after coming back to your workplace or after coming back to your class, you can be very positive and be very active. Okay, and obviously eat well, and keep a balanced diet. Okay, it is not that you go and eat all the junk foods and get fat and nothing like that. Eat every balanced diet, and you have probably very good food and good climate for sleeping, everything like that. So utilize it, everything. And then next I would say, initially if you are finding something very difficult in your mind, first of all understand what is that one thing that is haunting me, what is that one thing hindering me from the success. Understand that. Okay, it may be fear of examination, fear of doing kind of presentations or something like that. In that situation, you have to understand what is the actual stress factor within you. There are positive stresses and negative stresses also. You have to understand whether it is positive or whether it is negative. If you are having so much of stress before the exam, and that you are studying very hard to succeed, it is obviously a positive stress. Okay, it is not that you should not get stressed, so I'm not going to study for the exam. It's nothing like that. Okay, if you're working hard, then obviously it is a eustress or positive stress. Okay, and if it is hindering you from doing so, or if it is hindering you from studying, then it is obviously distress or negative stress. So you have to understand the differences. Okay, and obviously if you're not able to come out of, oh, I've understood my problem, I have done these kind of tips, but still I'm worrying about something, you have obviously you have a counselor, or meet a social worker, or meet a psychiatric a psychiatrist, so that you could be helped, or um, professionally or technically they'll help you. Okay, definitely they'll help you. And or else you have a good faculty, so you can discuss it with them as well. Okay, whether it is your personal life or your professional life, academics, everything, you can discuss it with them. Okay, so apart from that, we have so many complex therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, crisis intervention, one-on-one group intervention. So many therapies are there. I'm not going to deep into that. Okay, so keep your own attitude. And finally I would say, just a small story, like, you do not give any privilege to others to judge you. Okay, whoever it is, if you have an idea, or if you have something, do not give anybody the opportunity to judge you. Okay, and that is why, because I'm saying is that the founder of Spider-Man, Stanley, Mr. Stanley, initially he had so many small characters of cartoons, and one day his publisher said that, Stanley, you have to make a a character which is very heroic and people who should watch it. And then Stanley heard this and came back to his home and started thinking, what is the idea which I have to do? Then he saw a spider crawling on the wall, and then he thought of giving, that spider an image of a teenage boy and some personal issues to him, and he just named him as Spider-Man. And he gave him so many personal issues so that he could solve everything and be the hero of that entire generation. Okay, so he got this idea, and then he ran to his publisher and he said, "Sir, I have got this idea." Unfortunately, that publisher said that this is the most worst idea that I've ever heard, Mr. Stanley. So nothing to worry. Stanley came back, and he came back and thought of publishing a first-hand poster of Spider-Man with that image of a teenage boy with so many problems around him. He just published the first-hand poster of Spider-Man without any help, and that got immensely very much hyped in that generation. And so many publishers came to him. Obviously, this person also came back to him and said that, "Oh, Stanley, this is the most wonderful idea that I've ever heard." You know, quite funny, right? Similarly, people always try to change their judgment. If it is about publicity or if it is about getting a hype, people obviously will change, right? If it was me or you, obviously we would have dropped that point of idea, right, from that moment, and we would have gone for searching some another ideas, right? Nothing is going to succeed then. We are going on searching and searching ideas. But instead, Stanley posted and published his first poster, and then later it became the number one series of cartoon which we have ever seen. Still now people see Spider-Man, right? That is of so much hype and publicity. Okay, so yes, and finally I would give you a small kind of um, suggestion that um, it is you who have the choice to take or to leave anything. Okay, so I request you, if you need to success, you can take the initial mantra of life that you can, if you have any test paper, make sure that you take the initiative at least to sit on the table and just study. Okay, and then after that it is all about you to study or not. Just take the initiative to do that, or else just leave it. It is your attitude. Okay, it is you who have to think like that. So my friends, yes, I'm about to uh, you know uh, end this session, and I probably think that due to time constraints I have so many, it is a broad concept, and but still I think I've given you a kind of awareness about mental health and some kind of tips to tackle stress management. And yes, obviously, and yes, yeah, thank you.
So if you have any questions, you can use the chat box. Any questions? Please ask some questions.
Hello students, are you there? So if you're there, please ask questions. See madam, I have got a question. I think this is the question. I think when we have lot of jobs, maybe men are really poor at multitasking. When we want to do a lot of things together, how do you manage? How do we manage our stress? I'm not good at multitasking, so we have got a lot of tasks to finish here at the same point of time. So how do we manage this kind of multitasking, and how do we manage the stress associated with this thing? Because we feel stressed when we have a lot of things to finish at the same time, and we lose the focus also.
Yeah, that is probably one of the good questions I would ever get, right? We always to do multitasking, right? Stress is not that same for everybody. If I'm getting stressed for one reason, you will be getting stressed for another reason. So it is different for everybody. So managing it is basically customized, I would say. For that, I would say that if you have any interest for, if you are interested in, playing ball, or if you're interested in reading, or if you are interested in you doing education or whatever it is, just do it for at least 1 hour. We are doing so many things in our day, right? So it is not that we have to continuously do it and only then we can succeed. We have to give rest for our system, right? That is what I said. So at least spare 1 hour for what is most interesting for you. It can be either sleeping. If you are finding that it is very interesting for you, then obviously you can sleep for 1 hour. Okay, take a power nap every time. Okay, so that is the one suggestion which I can give you.
Thank you, madam. Any other questions? No queries. Yeah, there is a question.
There are a couple of questions loaded here, so I'll just read out. How can we identify whether we are overconfident or rational?
It's all about attitude, right? We think that in certain situations, we think that, yes, I'm okay, I can do this well. That doesn't mean that you're overconfident. If you're overconfident, you see, I can speak in front of a lot of people if I'm thinking like so. And if I think that, if I am able to, I have confidence and I am able to speak in front of a huge audience, and still if I'm not working for that, then obviously I'm overconfident, but I'm not working for that actually, right? So in such situations, you will probably, if you work for that, and if you know your capacity or capability, and you still work for that, then it is not confident, overconfidence. It is like, you give all your, everything which you have, and your abilities, your capacities, your capabilities, everything to your work. And then if you're saying that, yes, I'm able to do this because I have worked these kind of things, that is, you're all okay.
One more question is here. What sort of topics should not be there in our daily conversations to have a healthy mentality? What sort of topics should not be there in our daily conversations to have a healthy mentality?
What we talk is not connected with what we think of. Okay, initially we have to think like that. Like, people will say whatever they want, right? We will say, if I'll be saying what I'm interested in, and I'll not be saying what you are interested in, right? People will be saying complex things, right? So in such situation, it is not our mentality to keep it, or to take it in our head, or to leave it. Okay, so nothing is going to, if a person is speaking that is not not important for me, or if I think that is some kind of rubbishness, still leave it. Why should we take so much personal, as so okay. And being students, okay, just a tip for students, that is, while getting into, you have so many friends, motivation is not have to do that.
Madam, unmute yourself. I think, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
We lost a bit, maybe during the last few seconds. Okay. And here is another question, ma'am. Can you give an idea about the social work? What do you do, or what kind of orientation is required? Give an idea about this.
Sir, I'm not.
Question students. Okay. This is a question from students. Can you give an idea about social work?
Social work.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, social work, people always get a confusion like, is social work similar to social service? Okay, initially that is the first thing which we come, social work is like doing a social service free of cost. It is not, okay, it is a profession. It is an acceptable profession in everywhere. And, social service is that you are doing it, for some kind of a service. It doesn't mean that you need a remuneration or something like that. Apart from that, social work has got its own, it is a discipline which has got its own values, norms, everything, principles, everything. Okay, so in Marian we have three specializations in social work. That is, we have medical and psychiatry, we have community organization, and we have family and child. Okay, so I'm specialized in, my field specialization is in medical and psychiatry. And yes, my if we specialize in medical and psychiatry, we'll be obviously posted as a counselor, as a social worker, as maybe a PRO in a hospital setting, or in a psychiatric setting, or in a counseling setting, everywhere. So similarly, we have community organization, wherein which students will go for working with projects and all. And in with family and child, obviously they'll be working in shelter home and kind of family matters and family counseling, family court. So this is a brief idea about social work. Okay.
Any further questions? Mukund, you have any questions? Maybe pending?
As of now, nothing, sir. Is there any tips for decision making?
Decision making. Okay. Decision making means, I've said that before, taking a decision in life, whether it is a relationship or whether it is about your job or about your career, you think that after 20 years, will I be worth, or will I be, about that? Just think that. That is a simple tip which we can give for decision making, right? We should not think in the present. So I'm going to take this decision because it is good for me currently. Be practical, okay? Be practical every time. So after 20 years or after 50 years, I should feel proud of taking this decision. That should be the initial thing which should come in front of your mind when you are, confronting before confusion. Yeah.
Ma'am, do you get stressful often like everyone else?
From Mithun, okay.
Yes.
Quite a good question. I do not get often stressed because there is nothing to get stressed, right? If you have everything in and around, if you work for that, then nothing is going to be stressed, right? Yeah, nothing of that sort.
Tips for self-motivation.
This is from Davies.
Tips for self-motivation.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, think that let me say the fact that we are so much powerful and we are wonderful, right? I always, my mother and my father used to tell me, think that you are positive, you are wonderful. That is the initial tip which I've got in my childhood. So that's why I always think that I'm wonderful. I can do this. I am able to do this. So that I can increase my self-confidence. That is, go in front of a mirror and tell that yes, I can do this. I'm very I'm worth, my life is worthy. Think like that. Nobody's going to give you additional self-motivation class to get motivated. Okay, it is you who have to give importance for that.
Yes, ma'am. One more question. Our Sophie madam asked the question like, how to come out from any failure?
Any failure, like
Any failure, general.
yeah, if you have failed in your life for maybe for any reason, people might quite tell you that please don't worry, just forget it. Okay, people usually tell that please forget it, it's nothing to worry, just forget that event, that issue. I would probably suggest you not to forget that situation or that event which made you failed. Because when you are going to confront that same situation in the future, if you're going to forget everything that happened in the past, nothing is going to happen and you're again going into the box itself. Like you're going to fail again. So keep that lessons, and whenever a failure happens, take it as a challenge and take it as a lesson, so that in the future you don't confront the same mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I think questions are over. Over to Samson, sir.
Yeah, Mukund, it was a very nice, wonderful session from Ms. Anjali. We are really proud of you being an alumni from Marian College and enjoyed thoroughly. It was a wonderful session. Maybe you took us through the whole, maybe the topics of meditation, the need of meditation, maybe taking rest, and the focusing in areas, the need of the kind of mental health, all these things. You took us to a world which was not known to us. And really, these are all great tips for the management students, the upcoming B school students. And we are really thankful to you. And from the Marian community, we express our deep sense of gratitude, especially from Marian International Student Management for giving us all these tips. So thank you very much. And maybe your future endeavors also, we wish you all the very best of luck. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me for this session. I especially thank you, Principal and Samson sir, Mr. Mukund, and for inviting me for this session. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. All the best. And one small announcement. Next class accountancy. Thank you all.